Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Yeah. So we will be reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. The book which is translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So today is our very first class. So this book basically Bhagavad Gita is containing 18 chapters, and we will be reading from the very first page only. Okay, so the layout of this classes will be like every day we will have some reading task, and then also followed by some quizzes in the evening. So let interact well with means basically all the readers, they can do the self-reading, or these recordings of these classes also will be shared in our Telegram group, so that at their own convenience participants can see. And basically this will help us to inculcate a reading habit of this great wisdom text Bhagavad Gita, and by our own pace, taking a baby step every day, we can basically read this book. So this is what our attempt would be. Okay, so we will go not in a hurry. Okay, very slow reading, at a decent pace. Okay, reading all these sentence and also try to understand what does it really mean. So this book, when we enter, we see that after the content, Prabhupada has given this setting the scene. Okay, just to orient the reader to the book Bhagavad Gita. Basically, it is meant for all over, whoever in this earth, has a human life, he can read. So whoever not have a chance to, get birth in India, they might not be, so much conversant with this Mahabharata. Okay, so just to set the scene, Srila Prabhupada is starting with setting the scene, and then after it will be preface and followed by introduction, and thereafter the chapter 1 begins. So we will today read setting the scene. Let's begin. Although widely published and read by itself, Bhagavad Gita originally appears as an episode in Mahabharata, the epic history of the ancient world. The Mahabharata tells of events leading up to the present age of Kali. So Mahabharata is a great epic, okay, and in fact it is the biggest, okay, and largest epic in the whole world. Like in the Europe, Iliad and Odyssey were very famous epic. So putting Iliad and Odyssey together, Mahabharata will be 7 times of that. Okay, it contains 1 lakh verses written by Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa. So Bhagavad Gita basically falls in that Mahabharata. Okay, so Mahabharata has 18 parvas. Okay, so one of the parva is Bhishma parva. Within Bhishma parva, this Bhagavad Gita you can find there in Mahabharata. So although it is part of Mahabharata, but still Bhagavad Gita is widely published and read by itself. Okay, people read Bhagavad Gita as a separate book. Okay, and it is very widely published. Okay, and this Mahabharata is written in Sanskrit, okay, language. So Bhagavad Gita also is a Sanskrit language. So Srila Prabhupada has translated these Sanskrit verses for us. And the Mahabharata tells of events leading up to the present age of Kali. So when Krishna departs from this world, okay, so then the age of Kali begins from that day. So Mahabharata is also telling up to after Krishna, after Lord Krishna departs, then Parikshit also was enthroned by the Pandavas. So some pastimes of Parikshit Maharaj, and thereafter, so all these things are also described there. Okay, it was at the beginning of this age, some 50 centuries ago, that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to his friend and devotee Arjuna. So when this conversation took place, it took place 50 centuries ago, nearly 5,000 years ago. And this Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Lord himself, Lord Krishna, okay, to whom his dear friend and devotee Arjuna. So Arjuna was his dear friend and at the same time a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. So it is almost so it is like we can tell that it's the beginning age of the Kali. Okay, almost, because just after Mahabharata, few years Krishna was there in this earth, and thereafter he departed. Okay, so it's almost and if we tell that what is the age of Kali, nearly 5,000 years. Their discourse, one of the greatest philosophical and religious dialogue known to man, took place just before the onset of war. A great fratricidal conflict between the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra and on the opposite side, their cousins, the Pandavas or sons of Pandu. This conversation basically is one of the greatest philosophical and religious dialogues. Although it took place just before the onset of war, okay, the war was about to begin. Why? Because there was a great fratricidal conflict, a brotherly, conflict between 100 sons of Dhritarashtra, okay, and 5 sons of Pandu. Pandu and Dhritarashtra, they were both brothers. Okay, so when because of this conflict, they went into a fight. Okay, and what is that conflict? We will see, yeah, in a moment. So just before the war, okay, Arjuna has expressed his desire not to fight, and at that moment Lord Krishna spoke this philosophical discourse. So it's a great philosophical as well as religious dialogues. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada also writes in some of his purport that philosophy without religion is like mental speculations. Okay, so if we talk of too much of philosophy but there is no any practice, then it's of no use. And if we talk of religion without any philosophy, it's like sentiments. Okay, so you have a lot of spiritual ritual practices, but no, it's not backed up by any philosophical logics. So then it's like sentiments or fanaticism. So both philosophy and religious practices are very important. So Bhagavad Gita, contains both. Yeah. Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers born in the Kuru dynasty, descending from King Bharata, a former ruler of the earth from whom the name Mahabharat derives. Okay, there was a king called King Bharata, and he was a very great and pious king, and from his name, this part of the earth, was named Mahabharat on his name. Okay, and in that lineage, the Kuru dynasty, Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers. Okay, because Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, was born blind, the throne that otherwise would have been his was passed down to the younger brother Pandu. Okay, so by custom, who is the eldest son, the throne would have been his, if he is basically eligible. Okay, so if he's an able candidate, then of course the priority goes to him. So in that way, Dhritarashtra would have been the king, but he was blind from birth. So for that reason, now the throne is passed down to his younger brother Pandu. When Pandu died at an early age, his 5 children, Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadev, came under the care of Dhritarashtra, who in effect became, for the time being, the king. Thus, the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu grew up in the same royal household. Both were trained in the military arts by the expert Drona and counseled by the revered grandfather of the clan, Bhishma. Pandu died at an early age. So in his youth time, okay, he died. So his 5 children are now taken care by Dhritarashtra. So both sons of Dhritarashtra and sons of Pandu, they grew up with the same, royal household, facilities. And they were trained here, military arts, means all these archery skills, club skills, okay, all these military arts, they are taught by Dronacharya. Okay. And the ethics, moral values, principles, that has been taught by their grandfather, okay, who was a very revered personality. Okay, so he was very respected. Okay, so Bhishmadev. Yet the sons of Dhritarashtra, especially the eldest Duryodhan, hated and envied the Pandavas. Okay. So the eldest son, okay, Dhritarashtra has 100 sons. So out of that, the eldest one, Duryodhan, basically he was in a great hatred. He has a great hatred towards the Pandavas. And the blind and wicked Dhritarashtra wanted his own sons, not those of Pandu, to inherit the kingdom. You see, here it's a double superimposition. Okay? Duryodhan was hating the Pandava, and Dhritarashtra, was blind, but he was also blind on moral principles too. Okay, and he was also blind by his great desire to hold the kingdoms. So he was blind from all aspects. So yeah, instead of giving good suggestion to Duryodhan, basically he joined hands with Duryodhan. Okay, Duryodhan was envied, and Dhritarashtra has a desire to inherit the kingdom for his own sons. So yeah, let's see what happens. Thus, Duryodhan, with Dhritarashtra's consent, plotted to kill the young sons of Pandu, and it was only by the careful protection of their uncle Vidura and their cousin Lord Krishna that the Pandavas escaped the many attempts against their lives. So Duryodhan, has gone into such a extent, so we will see also in latter part. Okay, so Vedic literature says there are 6 kind of aggressors. Means for aggressors they have to do 6 kind of atrocities. Okay, so Duryodhan has done all of that. Okay, we'll see. Okay, latter part of the book it is written. So he has gone into such an extent that he plotted various plans to kill his own cousins. Okay, so and it was well supported by Dhritarashtra. But always, Pandavas were given protection by their uncle Vidura. So Vidura was also brother to Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Okay, but not from a different mother. So it's a maid servant. So that's the reason he has not been given the same priority. Okay, like Dhritarashtra and Pandu. So Vidura was the minister. Okay, of that time. Okay, that kingdom. So he was giving full protection. Okay, to the Pandavas and their cousin Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna was the cousin brother of Pandavas. Okay, that the Pandavas escaped the many attempts against their lives. Now Lord Krishna was not an ordinary man, but the supreme Godhead himself, who has descended to earth and was playing the role of a prince in a contemporary dynasty. In his role, he was also the nephew of Pandu's wife Kunti or Pritha, the mother of the Pandavas. So both as a relative and as the eternal upholder of religion, Krishna favored the righteous Pandavas, righteous sons of Pandu, and protected them. Okay, Lord Krishna was not an ordinary man. He was the supreme personality of Godhead himself. Okay, so Bhagavan. Okay, Bhagavan has taken avatar. Okay, he has descended to the earth. Okay, from the highest reality, from his abode Goloka, he has descended. Okay, to this earth. That point in time, okay, it happened so, and he was playing the role of a prince in a contemporary dynasty. So he was ruling Dwarka, okay, which was few hundreds kilometers from this kingdom Hastinapur, the Kuru dynasty, and he was related to Pandavas because Pandavas' mother Kunti, so she is the sister of Vasudeva. Okay, the father of Lord Krishna. Okay, so in that relationship, Lord Krishna, was nephew to Kunti. Okay, so both as a relative and also upholder of religion, because Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharate abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So just to protect the religion, okay, to establish the religion, dharma, okay, he comes, okay. So dharma to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So he is the upholder of religions, okay. So in that respect, okay, he has favored the righteous sons of Pandu, because whoever are on the side of dharma, okay, Krishna's favoritism will definitely go to him. Okay. And so he was protecting the Pandavas. Ultimately, however, the clever Duryodhan challenged the Pandavas to a gambling match. In the course of that fateful tournament, Duryodhan and his brothers took possession of Draupadi, the chaste and devoted wife of the Pandavas, and insultingly tried to strip her naked before the entire assembly of princes and kings. Krishna's divine intervention saved her, but the gambling, which was rigged, cheated the Pandavas of their kingdom and forced them into 13 years of exile. Okay, so what did they do? The clever Duryodhan, challenged the Pandavas to a gambling match. Okay, because he was trying all the way to kill them, but he was not able to. He was not succeeded. So he plotted a plan. So he arranged a gambling match. Dhritarashtra has given the invitation through to Yudhishthir. Okay, and basically in that, so it was a kind of Sakuni, okay, their uncle, okay, Duryodhana's uncle, who was very expert in this gambling match. He played from the side of Kauravas, and in that tournament, basically, Pandavas have lost, okay, everything, okay, all their possessions to the Kauravas, okay, and it has gone to such an extent that they lost also Draupadi, okay, who was a very chaste and very devoted wife of the Pandavas. So then when they took the possession of Draupadi, then Duryodhan, just to insult the Pandavas more, okay, and just to take the revenge, he also gone to such a low level that he ordered to strip Draupadi naked, okay, in that assembly, okay, where all the princes and kings were present. But Draupadi was a dear devotee to Krishna, okay, and she prayed profusely to Lord Krishna, and Krishna did intervene and saved her life, and then saved her from this insult, okay, by providing, unlimited clothes, So, this you can see in great detail in Mahabharata. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada is just giving a glimpse. And what is the end result of that gambling match? So at last, Pandavas were forced to go a 13 years of exile. So 12 years exile plus 1 year Ajnatavas. Okay, so this is how. So yeah, time is up now, so we will end here. Okay, so we'll begin again the reading from tomorrow. So every day we'll be reading, okay, close to 20 minutes. So today we a little bit gone up the time, but we'll try to restrict to 20 minutes only. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.